Hello and welcome everyone to today's session, the second session in the AI for Climate Activists training. So today's session is going to be basically about AI-driven threats to civic space. Today's session is going to be light, mostly informative. We will be going to basically grasp what AI-driven threats to civic space mean. We're going also to be able to identify risks like surveillance, predictive tools, spyware, platform, stuff like that. We're going also to understand how these tools can limit uh, organizing, protest, communication, mobilization, and everything in between. And we will also finally connect these risks to their own work and organization. So for each and every climate activist or activist in general, you should be able to connect how to identify what types of risks they are that comes with artificial intelligence models. So basically, the question that we're going to start today's session with is the benefit worth the cost? And is the added value outweighs the risks that comes with using artificial intelligence models. So, um, starting with an AI paradox, just as usual. So, the painkiller versus the secondary effects. So, the assistance versus the threats. AI has come so far in terms of being an indispensable assistant to activists around the world. Um, because it basically brings so much help to campaigning, to organizing, to communication. Nowadays, we started seeing more and more campaigns that are purely AI made and stuff like that. But on the other hand, it unfortunately also being used by governments or third party entities, which help them take down activists and not getting the people who want to advocate for causes doing their jobs peacefully. So the analogy here is it's like using a painkiller, which may help you with the pain, but it will certainly have some secondary effects. So, for instance, paracetamols take your kidneys down if abused or misused. So, let's understand how AI is a threat. So basically, let's start with a quick definition about what is civic space. By definition, civic space is a space for organizing and protest. It's a space for public participation, for holding power accountable, and it's starting to get step by step towards being super digital. So nowadays we can see platforms emerging, connecting multiple activists from all around the world. We can also see groups, whether on Facebook, whether on LinkedIn, also on WhatsApp, or basically every single social media platform or some own platforms that are launched by some NGOs or collectives that is working doesn't the civic space. So, the AI threat types generally can be categorized into three major types, which are surveillance and monitoring, algorithmic control and restriction, and information manipulation. So, one by one, so basically, AI tools are used to track people, track their communication, and that results into reduced privacy and make activists easier to identify as targets. Also, there are some automated systems that decide what content is seen and what is not. Also, decide who is flagged as a risk. So there is censorship and blackouts at some point. So that's what algorithmic control restrictions are. And last but not least, information manipulation is all about spreading misleading information or fake news. So that can confuse the public and weakens trust in environmental and activist movements. Tackling them one by one. So, going first with automated surveillance. It is all about facial recognition at protests. It is about social media monitoring, drones and cameras. creating chilling effects and stuff like that. So basically, it happened last year, for instance, in Argentina. Governments used cameras in the streets combined with some AI models to recognize people and take them down within protests or within marches. So basically, that's a risk. Also, there are loads and loads of monitoring of social media and harassing people who organize and belong to some certain movements that are saying against some political party or something like that. So this is what automated surveillance is. Moving down to predictive policing. So it's basically using the past data to predict um, people, to arrest sometimes people who have nothing to do with whatever it is that is making troubles or whatever it is, but they only rely on some past data because people maybe participated in protests or march or strikes or whatever it is. It is also labeling people or places as risks, and it usually reinforces bias because data is biased. We're going to be talking about that in future sessions, so hold tight. So, what can that lead to is basically unauthorized arrests, blacklisting people based on bias and false predictions. Moving on to spyware and device monitoring, which is one thing that has been existing for the past God knows how much. So it's basically phone access secretly, calls being intercepted, data extraction at checkpoints, whether in train station, whether in airports or whatever it is, and microphone and camera risks, whether it is through a Trojan virus, whether it is through some malware that's been injected into one's devices. So yeah, what this causes is basically defying all terms of and policies of privacy, breaching people private life in order to get after whoever does not comply by the rules of whoever it is that is targeting activists, which is basically some big companies, some big businesses that want to get the best out of a certain situation. Next is platform control, and we've seen a lot of that um, in the past period between 2023 and now. So it's basically downranking activist content, account suspension, automated content removal, flagging some content as defining the terms and policies or the integrity of certain platforms just for showing reality and what's happening in some certain places that is actually heartbreaking. So it's basically using authority to suppress freedom of speech, drowning all voices that bring truth or opposition to the surface. So that's what platform control is. Um, this information is basically fake narratives about movements, AI generated media, bot amplification, and all of that can result to downgrading or defamation of a movement or an organization image to the public. So they go ahead and say that this organization or this movement or this collective is doing some certain stuff through an article that is fake or AI generated, or some media, some footage, videos, or whatever it is that is totally fake. So what happens is that they harm and damage the image of that movement. So instead of pitching the movement being pitched as people who are working basically on getting things done, getting things the correct way, the right way, to bringing them down to being some fraud or some people who are just following some propaganda or whatever it is. So yeah, that's what this information is. Internet shutdown is pretty obvious. So what happens is basically cutting down connectivity, installing communication barriers, reducing safety and visibility, and that's what happened last year in Tanzania, I believe. So what happened in Tanzania is that throughout the elections, there was a total blackout, a total internet shutdown, a total loss of connectivity throughout the whole country. So that is basically also done to silence and blind voices and organizers. So, the question that gets asked the most is why climate activists? So, I came down to these main three options here. So, the first one is land and resources conflicts. So, government officials or business people often take away indigenous people's lands, resources, homes in order to make profit or to gain some status of some sort. So they use AI to make shortcuts to get them whatever they want. Um, Here, it can be misinformation, it can be blinding and silencing people in order for the indigenous people's voice not to be heard. The second one is the corporate and state interests. So business and states often get targeted by organizations because of different reasons, namely being high polluters or unlawful actions against people by the government's end or whatever it is. So yeah, they can also silence, they can also dump down the voices of people that are organizing. Last but not least is environmental defense equals the threat. And what that mean is that environmental activism and defending often gets seen as political opposition by people of power, resulting in them wanting to silence all the emerging voices in order for them to keep their place. So this is what it's all about. One last slide that I want you guys to go ahead and take it with you to your peers, to your colleagues, is a bit of a self reflection. Take a look back, notice your surroundings, and ask yourselves which threat affects you the most and where is your exposure higher. And trust me, because this self-reflection will help you a lot throughout the rest of the sessions, because we're going to be talking about how it is actually a threat. We're going to talk about the new types of colonialism that are related to artificial intelligence and IT. Also, we're going to talk about how to protect oneself and how to make the best out of artificial intelligence models. So, what I want you to do is to take some time to discuss and bring into comments or into your social media whatever takeaway that you got out of this conversation. That would be it. Thank you so much for sticking around. So yeah, to tune in to power2voices.org in order for you to get all the rest of this training. We have 8 sessions in this training. This is the second one, and a lot of also interesting trainings as well and knowledge is being posted there. So thank you so much again, and this will be it.